hope this helps. Whatever journey you're on, whether it's letting it go completely or slowing down, or if it's just you just need to do a tea break, whatever it is, whatever led you here, I hope this video has helped. What's up, people? I'm gonna try to talk fast because I only have 7 minutes left on this dang. It is September 22nd. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about. I have to go back. So today is day 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. I'm looking at my calendar. Look, I always prided myself on being real with everybody around me. Like, even if I'm embarrassed about some, even if I really don't like talking about it, if I'd rather tell the truth than lie and get caught in a lie, or just be like viewed as a liar. I want to say this before I get into everything. My channel is meant to be real. It's not meant to be perfect. I ain't trying to be no example. You know what I'm saying? Like a perfect poly example. I'm trying to be an example of the real. A lot of people put videos out and they sound good, it's good, but we gotta be for real about the fact that life is not linear and healing is not linear. I had a problem with alcohol at first. I don't know if I mentioned that at first, but in high school I was really drinking a lot because that's what I seen my mama doing. I felt like this is something that I needed to say out loud and not type, because you are not gonna get the point if I try to type it. I'm gonna try not to over explain. I am not saying that my mom was an alcoholic, okay? Just so that you get what I'm saying. My mom was a property manager for a long time. She's been in real estate for a while. And she worked really hard during the week. I mean, going to work early, gets home late. She already worked far, so that's another hour about her having to get back home. Then she would get home. A lot of times she would close her door, be like, I just want to be left alone. Like, her energy would be completely drained from basically being a workaholic during the week. Then on the weekend, she would go out with her friends and drink. This taught me the pattern that you overwork yourself. You work yourself until you basically have no energy. But hey, you made that money. You upholding shit. You being productive. And then you unwind by partying. You deserve to party and stuff like that. And it would be weekends where she wouldn't go out. She said she wanted to relax and shit like that. But I'll still see her light the hookah, have a drink at home. Drink wine at home. I'm not saying it's a crime to have a drink at home or drink wine or go out with your friends. But do I think that my mom had a healthy balance? If I'm being completely honest, no. I just got to be real. That's not to make her look bad or nothing like that. Not at all. But when you're overworking yourself, you might lean on some other shit because you're not properly balancing your work and your life. That's just something that I noticed that I feel like I got from my mom. So that's what I meant when I say, like, I picked up on the alcohol thing. It was readily available to me, is what I mean. She had a liquor cabinet. I'm not trying to say that my mom was an alcoholic or a bad parent or nothing like that. I'm just saying that sometimes I don't think parents understand that the bad habits you have and how you live your life, we notice that shit. And we start to pick up on it too. That's all I'm saying. And it was around me. And that was during COVID and stuff, so I was drinking copious amounts of liquor. For a short story, my brother seen me walking down the hall and he was like, you was walking like a zombie. I had got really drunk that night, y'all. And so that summer is when I started smoking. And so you go from one vice to another, and both of them were used for dissociation purposes. If that was my introduction, me getting this shit together is gonna look a little up and down, and we just got to be for real about that. And I'm like almost 100% certain a lot of people watching this have the same problem. Your introduction to weed was not the healthiest, and you probably been smoking for a long time, like since you maybe was in high school, or maybe you're older and it was right when you was in college. I don't know, but it done got out of hand. It's not gonna be straight like this. So I say all that to say, I had told y'all I'm not gonna see y'all till like mid-September, and that was because the way I thought my fast was gonna line up and end, I thought it was gonna end like mid-September, because I knew that I had to go through the 3 weeks like I had said, and then 2 weeks, and I think I had gave myself an extra week. It was something, y'all. It was only supposed to be 2 weeks. Somehow, some way, it ended up being like 3. I was gonna start my fast in September. I actually ended up starting it at the end of August, and it went into September, so that ended up being like my bridge. So I still patted myself on the back because I looked at it and I said, damn, most of August I didn't smoke. Like, I smoked them little 5 days because I had fasted, and then I was supposed to keep fasting after that because I think I said that fasting helps me jumpstart into like staying away from because I have to. It's easier for me to fast and then go into a week fast because, you know, and we're talking about food, if you're wondering. If that wasn't clear, I'm sorry. 5 days, and then the rest of the month I didn't smoke. So I said, bitch, you really did amazing. And then I went into September. So I was done fasting in September, and I finished that, I believe, like on the 3rd. So I literally went all the way until I was done at that point. And I was like, I could smoke or I could give it another week. And I think this is why I up. Don't push yourself too much at the very beginning if it's not necessary, because I felt like it would have been easier to just do what I said I was gonna do and then start incorporating my new routine, which is only recreational on the weekends and not even every weekend. A lot of editors cuts, y'all. I'm sorry. I also want to say this for this part. That looks a little ghetto. Do what you feel convicted to do. I'm not mad at myself for adding that extra week. I said right there I feel like I did too much. But honestly, regardless of if I tried to push myself to my limit and I didn't go as far as I thought, I still pushed myself further. Regardless of if I reached the goal of pushing it, I still... Imagine I was supposed to stop here, but I said I'm going to reach here, and I stopped like right here at my head. You still went further than where you originally were supposed to stop, even if you didn't make it here. So if you feel the need to push yourself, still do that. Just to see how far you can go. A lot of times, I just ended a fast where I was only supposed to fast for a few days, and I was like, I kept adding days to it. I added 3 days, then I added another 3 days. Then I added another day on top of it. I literally, the night before, I was like, I think I'm going to add another day tomorrow. I think I'm going to fast again tomorrow. I just ended it like 2 days ago. A lot of times as humans, example, you ever wonder why babies be strong as shit? They can pick up what you feel like they shouldn't lift up. They say it's because babies have yet to condition themselves and tell themselves that they can't do something, or that something is too heavy, so they just do it and they try. We tell ourselves all the time that things are out of our reach or we can't do something, when in actuality, if we lock the in and act like it's ours, act like we can't achieve it, we actually can't achieve it. We create our own limits. So if you feel convicted to push yourself, push yourself. If you feel like that applies to you, nah, I need to start small because this is a big feat for me. I'm going to go 2 weeks at a time. I'm going to just go a week at a... Do what feels right for you. I feel like it depends on the person which one you decide to do. But as your internet sister, I'm going to tell you to push yourself. I'm gonna challenge you to push yourself because I think you can go further than you can if you try, okay? But I tried to push myself. I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm not saying that that's bad. It's just, I think that's why this ended up happening, because it's just like, don't try to be too hard on yourself too early. Like, make it makes sense, basically, is what I'm trying to say here. I have been trying to look for a job. We said that. And this is another reason I want to say, I might have to end up recording on my phone, y'all. But life is gonna, you're gonna have to learn. It's gonna be an up and down process, and that's all I'm gonna say, and it's gonna make sense why I said that. So I showed y'all all the things that I do to reset my energy and things like that, but certain things in life just hit really hard. So me being excited for the fact that I know I needed to lock in all this stuff, I'm really expecting at this point for a job opportunity to really, fall into my lap at this point, because it's just like, if I know that this is what God been waiting on me for, then it's just like, why wouldn't I have it? And this also taught me a little bit more about patience and a little bit more about sticking it through, even when it's like, okay, it's taking a little bit longer than you thought, but that don't mean get discouraged. And that is where I f***ed up. I got really discouraged, y'all, because I have been going to this place for a month at this point, every Monday, trying to get a f***ing job from these people. That he don't give up on me, keep coming back, all that shit. And it's like every week he just kept crushing my spirit, and he's just doing his job. But it's like, you don't understand the situation I'm in and why I want a job so bad. Killing me every week. And I gotta walk out that office feeling like I want to cry, but just putting a smile on my face and just being like, thank you for being honest with me, because at the end of the day, people will bullshit with you when it comes to this trying to find a job phone. Hey lab brats, welcome. What the that's not my intro. Hey lab rats, it's your leading hamster campster. Welcome back to the Brat Lab. I had a brain fart for a second, couldn't remember my damn intro. Okay, so this is, it feels right to say the long awaited, but they're literally going to be up at the same time. This is the 6-month update. I talk a lot with my hands, so just so that we can go ahead and get this out the way, yes, I'm missing a nail. Just act like you don't see it. Can you tell this one's gonna come off? I feel like you can. Anyways, you're missing a significant part of the vlog because I feel like the enemy works in mysterious ways. You know what I'm saying? And we're talking spiritual enemy. The enemies that be the spirits that are holding you down in your life, generational curses that are holding you down in your life, spirits and chains that are on your family, things that are on my family, on my life, the enemy, to wrap it all up together, works in very mysterious ways. And I genuinely feel like these videos are just giving me a hard time because the longer I take, the longer it takes for God's plan to manifest, I guess. If God was able to do this work in me, imagine how, and I was led to make this video, imagine how many other people are supposed to see it and break themselves out of the same chains. So if I take even longer, you get where I'm going with this? If this video takes even longer to come out, God's plan is stalled. We not finna stall it no more. It's been 6 effing months. We finna get this out, okay? I'm done playing. So, me tapping this like it's a tablet. Girl, please. Open it. Thank you. I have notes here about things that I wanted to talk about at the 6-month update. Like things I've learned in the 6 months, things that through the experience, after recording, during recording, that I've learned. But before we get into those, I want to get into the things I was doing during the vlog and why I was doing them, because the first few days, like the first 10 to 11 days, I think, of the vlog, y'all are missing it. It's y'all are gonna be like, where's the rest of it? Girl, we not playing with these tech. Ain't it a retrograde right now? I don't really keep up with that, but I just think the other day I think I seen something about a retrograde. You know, they be saying technology be acting up during them retrogrades. That's besides the point. So during I'm gonna break it down so that when you watch, first of all, if you're here, you've probably already watched it, so that it just makes sense. Because the last few days, since I had already spent the first 10 days explaining, I wasn't explaining why I was doing certain things that I was doing. So I'm gonna do it now. I would wake up, pray, of course. I would meditate. I would do affirmations. I would stretch. Depending on the day, it may be a stretch. It may be yoga. It may be yoga that's attached to different chakras, which we will get into. If you're more of a religious person and not a spiritual person, you don't have to do everything that I did. But the basis of it is still the same, okay? And if you're confused on what I mean, just keep listening. If you felt led to click it, please watch it all the way through, please. Even if you're like, I don't know if I believe in that, I don't know if you don't have to. But I believe in God and so do you. So watch it. Thank you. And if you don't, you're questioning it. You're like, should I take the dive? Yes. So if you felt led to be here, please watch it all the way through, okay? Don't allow the differences that how we live to sway you away. Just take what resonates, leave what don't, essentially. Okay, I would stretch. Depending on the day, it may be chakra, it may just be normal yoga, it may just be a stretch. I would work out. Some days I did 1 a day, some day I did 2 a days. 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. What else was I doing? I jump started my staying away from, and I would call it a detox time with a spiritual fast. So let's start with the fast, how I started. So fasting, if you're unaware, it's like sometimes I don't want to explain something and we're like, girl, we know what a fast is, but I also just don't want to expect for everybody to know what something is, because some people didn't grow up around hearing that kind of terminology. So fasting and spirituality is something that you do to reconnect with the divine. You stay away from, And for some people, it's they stay away from, they're fasting from liquor. Some people, they're fasting from meat. Some people, they're just fasting from most foods, period, and they're just doing a fruit fast. That's the avenue that I chose to jumpstart it. Whatever you choose to stay away from, it is meant to be a time where you are solely focused on building your relationship, and really it's a time as well for you to get focused. If you've ever done a fast, you know that that focus you feel during a fast is unmatched, and you just feel so grounded within your soul, within yourself, and to the divine as well. I use that to jumpstart into my detox because I knew that it would be a for definite 7 days I would not touch a blunt. And I knew that because during my fast, I don't smoke. Even in times where I was smoking a lot, during my fast, I don't even play like that. I ain't drinking, I ain't smoking, I ain't doing nothing. Because how are you fasting from not eating? Like, I'm literally not eating anything but fruit, only drinking water, but you still hitting a blunt. Like, girl, tell me how that makes sense. And if you are doing that, that's no shade. Stop doing that shit. Stop. Put it down. Actually, before we get into that, let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about how I got led here, okay? I started this recording in August. And when you hear this, don't judge me because I ain't judging you. I first got the conviction to stay away from weed prolonged and to record this video, to do a whole like 101 kind of situation back in March of last year, 2025. And yes, it took me that long to actually do it because I did not want to get on the camera and fake the funk for a week or 2 weeks and then go right back into old patterns. I wanted to be something that I was actually living in real life. And I think that time that it took me to actually lock in and actually do it just showed me how out of control it got and how much control I had lost. There was a point in my life where I remember my parents did not like that I was smoking at all. And I remember them being so concerned that it was something that was consuming me. And what's so crazy is that at that time that they were saying that, it wasn't. It was after I was away from them that it started to consume me because I was going through a hard time. But never underestimate when your words will ring in somebody's head later on. And so I started to notice that it was becoming increasingly hard for me to really step away from it, and that concerned me because I'm like, it may have not been something I needed to hear then, but it definitely needed to echo in my head now because what is going on? I've never had this issue to put anything away or put it down or step away from it. That's never been an issue for me. And I realized that I just had to tackle a lot as to how it had got that bad. And like, how did I get here? How did we get here? And I think that's a perfect segue into when I finally did start and I finally locked in. This is why it was so important for me to pray, to be connected spiritually, to be journaling the way I was. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I was journaling every morning and every night, as well as working out, as well as affirmations and meditation, and being mindful of where my mental was because I had to know how I got here. What led me to smoking so much and having such an issue with putting something down that clearly I know is not good for me at this point, especially if I'm feeling convicted to take a step away? What's this pull? We just couldn't say I was addicted. I don't feel like I was, but I feel that it's important. I don't want to label myself with something that I don't feel like I was going through, but I also don't want anyone who is at that point where they're like, I'm definitely addicted, I definitely have an addiction. I don't want you to feel shame or or your journey to be centered around shame of being addicted to something. So let's just say I was addicted. I'm right there with you. I was addicted. Cool beans. I have no problem saying that. We right there together. I say that's important to have community because you don't break out of addiction or any bad habit or something that has taken a hold of you by shaming yourself, by shaming the community that resonates with you. You get nowhere doing that. We're just gonna leave it there. I ain't trying to ramble too much on that. I woke up and I prayed. Prayer was important to stay connected to the divine during this process because you cannot do everything from the ground. Imagine that we can only see like this, and God has a bird's eye view. If God can see where it came from, how it progressed and where it's going, and he's saying, hey, you might want to slow down, shawty. you can't then from the ground, from here, let's be clear as well. Even if you don't believe in God, even if you aren't sure, because I don't think anybody that's watching me right now don't believe. If anything, I feel like it's more of a you're not sure. And I want to say this, that feeling that you randomly got, even if you, God chases their children, period. Spirit, the divine, God, the almighty, whatever term you want to use, they chase their loved ones. So even if you feel like, I don't have a relationship, why would God convict me and we ain't even tight like that? Because God still cares about you. So that feeling you got in your chest that I may need to let this go, that was God. God lives here in our heart space, all of us. When you felt that pull to let it go, that was them. Therefore, that's going to be your guidance throughout this process to release. You can't release by yourself. You just can't. And I'm going to get into why. When it comes to addiction and where things come from, you can't release by yourself. Prayer, staying connected, making sure you're going to continuously feel that conviction, and making sure you have something other than yourself, a higher power, keeping you accountable when you fuck up, when you falter, when you fall, and something that is going to help you stand back up and give you the strength when you feel that you don't have it yourself. If you feel that there's nobody around you to help you during this process, there you go. That's the only support that you need. Because when I did this, I don't know if I mentioned it in there, but my roommate was still smoking every day, multiple times a day. This was something I had to do by myself. Smelling them walking past me, smelling like straight gas, and know that this is my journey. This is what I'm going. This is the journey that I'm on. This is what I'm running towards. I cannot allow what somebody else is doing to take me out of what I'm going to do. And that may resonate with somebody else. Maybe you live in a household of smokers. Maybe you have all your friends smoke. Don't allow the fact that you don't have support or nobody doing it with you to stop you. That's all the support you need. So prayer is important. Then I would meditate, stretch, and do affirmations. Why is meditation important? Where is your mental at? The first few nights that I stopped, and this is the devil working mysterious ways, bro, because them first few nights, it was so important that I showed y'all it's not going to be easy. By no means did I want this journey to look easy, that I want it to look clean cut. If at any point you were confused, you felt like, girl, what the fuck is going on? And it looked messy, that's the point. That was exactly the point. Being released isn't linear. Release, healing is up and down. And it's hard. And it can look messy, but you got it. To go back to what I was saying, I got off topic, but the first few nights are going to be hard. I was crying myself to sleep some nights. I was just replaying some very hard moments and hard truths in my head that I had been running from. And it started to become clear that it had numbed me to a point that I had never experienced before. So waking up in prayer and then being mindful of where your mental is and what you're thinking of is important, because those moments where we just wake up and we ready to smoke, it's like when all those feelings get trudged up and that blockage, that wall is no longer there, you have to seriously pay attention to what comes up, because that's what you've been running from. Don't just think it's a random thought or nothing like that. It is not a random thought. It is something that you have been putting off and you didn't even know. Give it space to breathe. Give it space to bloom. And it may hurt. It may feel like, bloom what, bitch? Rain? Sadness? Tears? Tears cleanse the soul. Have y'all ever heard that? Crying cleanses the soul. That is a release of things, of tension that has been built up. Let it go. Let it out, please. Next, after being mindful in meditation and what I was thinking, what's on my mind, I would release the tension in my body. I would stretch. That's where the chakras come into play. So if you do lean more towards spirituality, with the chakras, when I would stretch, it was more so of releasing certain blockages. So if I felt an emotional block or a blockage in my heart space, because during the time I was going through a rough patch with my family, and I felt that my heart was closed off in a lot of areas because I felt alone and betrayed and abandoned in different ways. Some days I would do stretches that was centered on my heart space and helping me release that. Now, when you're stretching and you're doing these things, it's supposed to unblock your heart space or your emotions or your womb area. For some of you have sexual trauma. It's like these feelings are gonna come tenfold, and you may feel like it's not helping, but it is doing exactly what it's supposed to. It's bringing it up so that you can release it. It's removing the blockage you've placed there, a wall you've placed there to not feel the pain. It's helping you get it out permanently. I hope this is making sense, guys. After stretching and releasing tension, releasing those emotions, I would then journal. This is not even the journal I was using at the time. It was this one, which is finished. She is done. I have so many of them now because I started journaling. I made it a priority to journal my senior year of high school. I'm 21 now. So many journals have been filled, and they're filled with so many thoughts and emotions. But I want to highlight that even though I had good habits like journaling and paying attention to my emotions, different cycles, different phases in our life require more attention. At 18, I could just maybe smoke here and there and journal. At this stage in my life, with all the pain that I had, smoking wasn't an option. And at this stage in your life, for whatever reason, God is calling you to put the blunt down for a little bit. Maybe it's a few months. Maybe you're feeling convicted to not do it anymore at all. Whatever your journey is and why you're looking at this, God is telling you to put it down and release yourself. Release whatever has been within you, and whatever journey you've gone on, even if you have good habits, at this stage in your life, He's requiring you to take it up. He's requiring you to apply yourself more. That's how life works, though. The older we get, the more life requires of us. So it's a natural progression. Using myself as an example, I would journal and release these emotions, write down, where I think they came from, how long I think I've been holding on to them, how they've been manifesting in my life as of recently. And through journaling, I also realized that, and this is where I want to say, we have to tackle our relationship with vices and how they began. I don't know about y'all, but I started smoking when I was 16. Before I started smoking, and I think this is in the previous clip, I was using liquor as an escape. They were always dissociation tools. I was extremely depressed at 16. I've struggled with depression on and off since I was around 11. And I think it's something that I've always kind of struggled with. Honestly, when I look back at my childhood and I just had moments where I was extremely sad, or I just did not feel like myself. And there are experiences I've had, I think, that contributed to like self-worth issues and why I think I struggle with depression and so at such an early age. But middle school is when they start to do those, the counselor come in and talk to y'all about depression and hard emotions, if you get what I'm trying to put down. And that's when I finally got a name for what the I was feeling, in all honesty. And so 16 is when I started using vices, because for a long time I used academics as an escape, and just buckling down in my schoolwork and just focusing on anything else. And I thought that like my freshman year I was healed, like, oh, it's gone. You were distracted. COVID came. Meet my ass. Real shit. Oh my gosh. I've not been healed at all. And that's when the drinking started. That summer, I think I was going into my junior year, so that was 2021, I think. Yeah. 2021, I was 16, finna turn 17 later that year, and that's when I started smoking. And it was so much better than liquor because I really don't like being drunk. That was the thing. I didn't like being drunk. I didn't like the hangover. I didn't like all that. And when I realized that it started at a bad space, it really opened up. Are we really surprised that it progressed to this point? Because if it started like that, how was it ever going to be healthy? It was always like this. So in me journaling and tackling these hard emotions and then having to be like, okay, where did this start? Where did this come from? And I'm going back. I'm like, wait a minute. Smoking started as an escape for me. So of course, naturally, as you get older, you start going through more shit. You're gonna start to lean on that tool a little bit more, unfortunately. Somebody's calling me. Hold on, guys. Clear change of scenery. I had to get ready for class. But I have a test to study for today, so we gonna I pretty much said what needed to be said in that last clip. Journaling helped me not only tackle the hard feelings, and that some of the feelings that I felt in my life weren't just feelings that started then. They were progressions of smaller little nudges in my childhood of feeling like I wasn't seen for real. And then through the things I was going through as I got older, and the rough patch that me and my family went through. And I don't want them to be a focus. This fucking train. Going through these deeper emotions and then finding that there was like smaller feelings that were like connected to that throughout my childhood, and then having to tackle that larger epiphany of, if this habit started as something that was used as an escape, naturally that's what I'm gonna lean towards as I get older and life is getting not harder, but emotionally it was harder, I would say. Yeah, that's all I got for that, I think. So journaling is important. I said prayer, I said stretching, I said mindfulness, I said journaling. Okay, now we can get into these points. Like I said, I have a test to study for, so we just gonna hop right into it. Healing happens in waves. You will fall. It's a part of the process, because you have to be able to, one, recognize the fall, and two, get the fuck back up. That's what I wrote verbatim. Remember earlier when I was talking about my own journey and why I did certain things, and why if the video looks messy at some points, that's the point? This is what I was referencing when I said that. Healing is not linear, and it happens in waves. You have waves where you're doing really good, and you may have a moment where you go back on something you've been doing really good at. So in that clip before this one, when I had on the pink, not the brown, I was getting ready to tell y'all that I finished out what I told y'all I was gonna do even off the camera, but I had tried to push myself a few extra days. Excuse me. In me pushing those few extra days, remember I told y'all I was looking for a job at the time. Oh, that's another thing y'all didn't get to see. Another hard emotion I was dealing with at the time is feeling extreme shame and just frustration with not being able to become employed. And I don't know if anyone else is struggling with this right now or have, but if you know the feeling I'm talking about, when you like working and being independent, when you're going through a period where you can't be independent, where you're having a hard time finding a job, that shit is not fun. It is not fun. It feels like absolute torture, and I did not know what to do with myself, like, at all. I was hurting. I was going through a lot, on top of the fact that I couldn't even be fully independent in my situation. And so that was another hard emotion for me. So when I had this interview, I was going back for every week for like 4 weeks, and he's telling me, come back, come back, come back. That last week, he told me I don't have anything again. Remember, I said I had already finished what I said I was gonna do. It was another thing where I had like some, you know, put away as like a congratulations for myself of making it through. And my roommate at the time wasn't trying to use her last on buying her own. She kept asking, she knew I hadn't, she kept asking me, can I smoke it? Can I? And I was just like, gang, no. Like, if you know that I've been on this journey, I've had to watch you smoke, I've had to basically put myself through torture, why would I allow you to smoke my celebration? Like, what kind of mess is that? And after I had did what I said I was gonna do, and I was at this very vulnerable spot where I was really discouraged with the whole job situation, I felt like, okay, well, I did what I was supposed to do. So if she keep asking me, and I don't want to be an a-hole, by the way, I should have been one. Long story short, I ended up smoking it with her. It was like a little half, it was nothing big, and really she smoked most of it, because like I said, I hadn't smoked for like a month at that point, so I didn't need a lot. I say all of that to say, for one, in your discouraged moments, I urge you to not do what I did. Don't try your best not to, but to, if you do, have grace with yourself. You're gonna have moments where you may be at a vulnerable spot, or it's just a conjunction of circumstance. Like, if had it just been her and I had got a job that day, I probably wouldn't have. Had I not got a job but she wasn't in my ear as much as she was, I probably wouldn't have. It was the conjunction of those two things, vulnerability and somebody just trying to smoke my celebration without me, when to me technically I had did what I was supposed to do. I was like, you're not gonna smoke my celebration weed without me. Honestly, that was my mindset. Like, I work for this. I'm not gonna give it to you just because you asked me for it. Like, what? And I felt like I did what I was supposed to do. I vlogged, I finished out, I didn't lie to these people, I didn't smoke the whole 4 weeks. Like I said, 3 to 4 weeks. Really, I'm pushing myself extra, so why not? If you're gonna push yourself extra, that's added time, official added time. Do it, adhere to it. I brought that up to say this, to go back to this point. Healing happens in waves. I did so good for 3 to 4 weeks. In that one moment, it's not super bad technically, because I know some people are probably like, well, you did what you said, what you were supposed to do. But I know that some people understand what I'm trying to get at. I still shouldn't have. I should have stuck it out and been strong regardless of. But I'm not going to beat myself up about that, because that was a lesson for me moving forward, because there's been more moments after that where I've been discouraged, where I've wanted to smoke and I didn't, because I remembered that moment. You have to be able to recognize the fall. You have to be able to recognize, I am moving backwards, or I've done something I'm not supposed to do. You have to be able to feel that conviction. That's how you know you've been moving forward, because it doesn't feel good to go backwards. And you have to know what to do to get back up, and how to keep yourself strong in moments where you may come in contact with that feeling again. Next point, be kind to yourself. Grace is imperative. Think of a small child learning something new. We shouldn't deprive ourselves of grace just because we're older. We are still learning and theoretically a baby in a lot of ways. So, kind of going back to the point that I just said, I wasn't going to beat myself up or shame myself because of that situation. That's not going to serve me at all. Shaming myself and making myself feel bad about something when I'm still a baby in the process. Like, when I said think about a small child, think about a baby learning how to walk. You're not going to be like, aha, you can't walk. Like, no, you're going to be like, oh, good job. You're going to try to motivate them, to encourage them to keep trying. Even when that baby falls and they start crying, you're going to tell them, don't cry, you did it. You took a few steps, because at first you couldn't walk at all. In this situation, I'm not going to shame myself for, I was having a hard time. Somebody was trying to, you get where I'm trying not to repeat myself too much, because like I said, I have to hurry up and study. But it's like, depriving yourself of kindness does not encourage you to keep going. Think about when you are going after a dream, chasing after a dream, and you feel like you have no support. It's people telling you you can't do it, or you still doing that. You can't do that. It don't make you feel good. So imagine how it feels coming from yourself. Just because we're adults doesn't mean that we should deprive ourselves of that kindness. And also the inner child concept. Your inner child is still there. They still need that encouragement. They still need that kindness. We are simply little people learning how to be big people still. Even though our bodies may be big, in certain areas in life we are still small, and that's okay. For example, as it pertains to having healthy vices, I am still a 16-year-old girl, because my introduction to vices began as disassociation tools for a young girl that was depressed as hell. So why would I shame 16-year-old me, who's still basically living now through me at 21, when I'm going through something, when I'm having a hard time? I'm not going to shame her. That's how she learned how to deal with things. How do we learn how to stop? I understand how you feel. That's where this journaling stuff comes in. Understanding how you feel, why you feel the way that you feel, but still giving yourself the encouragement that, hey, this is not serving us. This is not okay. We have to stop doing this. Being stern with yourself does not equal being mean. I'm going to leave that point alone. I think I've said enough. Be proud of how far you've come, no matter how small. It's motivation that you can grow and that you should keep going. Keep track of your progress. On another note, log it. So even if it's only been, and everybody's journey with stopping is going to be different. Some people are going to try to go 1 week. You know what I'm saying? Some people are going to try to do 2 weeks, I would urge you to do what feels right for you and also pray about it. Sometimes we can go further than we think we can go, which I think is a point somewhere on here. God knows our limits. And that's why I urge you to pray about, should I only not smoke for a week, or should I go longer? If you're not sure, pray about it. Anyways, let's say you only go a week. To some people that may be that ain't no time. If that's a significant amount of time for you, it don't matter how small it is. That's 1 week that you didn't smoke versus when's the last time you did that? I'll wait. And I ain't trying to be shady, I'm being for real. It don't matter how small or insignificant it seems. It's still progress. It's something that you haven't done in a long time. Period. When I said I urge you to keep track of your progress and log it, write it down, day 1, day 2. Maybe do a video diary how I did, just for yourself. So that in your moments where you're feeling like, I want to smoke, you can look back and see how far you've come. It's been 7 days, it's been 14 days, it's been 27 days, however many days it's been. Are you really going to stop all that progress and go back to day 0? It's just further encouragement to keep going, because you can see it's a physical log of how far you've come and what you've accomplished. Next point, which I already said, tap in with a higher power, God, source, divine, spirit, universe, whatever you want to say. We lean on them for strength in moments we feel weak. Prayer. We can't make it through this life alone and on our own understanding. Don't you think you should get help from who is orchestrating all of this? So remember earlier when I said that God, source, universe, divine, whatever you want to say, spirit, lives within our heart space. And you felt that conviction to put down whatever you were doing. If you were convicted to stop smoking, if you were convicted to stop drinking, if you were convicted to stop going out, whatever your conviction is, if that inner knowing, if that divine higher power is who convicted you to stop doing it, don't you think you should get their help on the journey on, okay, you convicted me to stop, what do I do next? That's it. Next point, build hobbies. Find things that bring you joy and explore. If you say, I don't have hobbies, bullshit, find them. Find them. In the age of technology where social media is at our fingertips, there's so much to do. There's no way you're telling me you can't find something to do. I'm sorry, my gum just all in your face. Should I spit it out? I'm like, hold on, that's kind of gross. I don't want to use my napkins. It's pollen season. I'm gonna need these. I'm gonna just keep it because I gotta hurry up. We ain't finna waste time. I'm sorry, y'all, if you can see my gum. I'm so sorry. Hobbies. So after my morning routine, right, when you saw me doing my paper mache, because I'm trying to build my sister a dollhouse, which I'm still working on that shit because I done restarted it so many times. You know, like when that person, like in the movie, when they're like, it's not good enough, nothing's good enough, and they tear it all down. That's me when it comes to that dollhouse. But find things to keep you occupied. After you do all them stretches, meditations, affirmations. Oh, I never talked about affirmations. Affirmations, real quick. Affirmations are important because they reprogram your neurological system, your subconscious thoughts, and they counteract those negative thoughts that you have about yourself, or those negative feelings that's causing you to smoke and lean on something so often. Those positive affirmations is rewiring your subconscious, the back of your brain. I don't think we understand how important our subconscious plays in the actions that we actually perform in our day-to-day life. You claim you want to dream so bad, it's the only thing you can think about, but you never put in the work to get there. I pinky promise you, bitch, there's probably a subconscious thought somewhere in the back of your mind that's telling you you can't make it, you won't make it, you won't be able to sustain your goals. It's probably a subconscious thought that somebody else, if you've ever dealt with abuse or verbal abuse in your childhood, those thoughts live in the back of your mind. So even though you say you may put in the work here and there, when you have those random moments of slowing down out of nowhere and it makes no sense, tackle your subconscious. I promise you, the blockages that you're like, if I say I want it so bad, why am I not acting like it? Your subconscious is why, and affirmations help with that. Okay, back to this. After you do your affirmations and stretching and prayer and all of these things, right, and journaling, you're stuck with the rest of the day to fill time with. Now, if you have work, if you have class, yes, it fills those time up. It fills the time up then, but then what about after class is over? What about when you get off of work and your blunt is usually your unwinding? What you gonna do then? You need to find a new way to unwind, to decompress, things to fill up your time. So paper mache, drawing, something I talked a lot about was purge drawings and purge poems and purge songs. I am a creative in every aspect of the word. When I tell you I have dabbled in anything creative, I've done dance, I was in chorus, I was in musical theater, and I loved all of it. I've loved drawing since I was little. And in this moment where I needed hobbies, I needed things to fill my time, I went back to Little Cam and what Little Cam liked to do. She liked to dance, she liked to sing, she liked to draw. And I put my pain, the things I was feeling, into the songs I was writing, into the poetry I was writing, into the drawings. I was literally drawing out how I felt. It was moments where I was feeling, for example, where I was feeling shame about things I had done in my life, how I had unknowingly hurt people that I loved, even though I was trying to protect them, even though I was trying to have real conversations that we needed to have. I ended up hurting them on accident. And because I was still living in my pain, so my delivery wasn't the best. Even though it's something they needed to hear, my delivery was ass. And so I had a drawing where I had a gun in my hand, and it wasn't even me. It was like just a person that was supposed to represent me, where they had the gun like pointing outwards towards other people for the pain that I felt towards others, the things they inflicted upon me. And then it was another moment where they were sitting on the ground and the gun was pointed towards themselves for the shame that I felt for how I've hurt others and didn't mean to. And it was supposed to show like the split between understanding that I've hurt people, but people have hurt me, and feeling the shame of I didn't mean to hurt them, and fuck everybody for hurting me. It's like that duality of pain, right? That's what I mean when I say purge drawings, purge songs, purge poems. Let that shit out in whatever way you need to, okay? But yeah, build hobbies and explore. You can find some. If you're not a creative, do something else. Like, girl, go on TikTok, go on Instagram. If you feel that you need to get away from TikTok and Instagram to help what you're doing, then think about what you like to do when you were little. What did little you like to do and spend their time doing? What brought them joy? And don't care about, oh, I'm too old to do that. I can't. Bullshit. If you want to go to the park and go on the swings, do that shit. If you want to, what's something kids like to do? If you just want to get up and just move around and be silly, do that. Whatever brings you joy, do it. Distance yourself from people that are detrimental to your growth and where you are actively trying to go or reach. For example, around this time, me and my roommate were not talking or hanging out often, and that's really a whole story within itself, honestly, because there was other factors at play. But I think it just serves as an example. It is so many pregnant people at this school. What the hell? It's in the air. Y'all gotta chill. Anyways, we weren't talking like that. We weren't hanging out like that because, like I said, she was still smoking. And there was times where on the weekend where she wasn't working, we may, ride to the park and sit outside and stuff like that. But it's not like we were hanging out often because I ain't smoking and you are. And then you may have moments like that where your friends or family or whoever you're around, where you feel like I can't hang out with people as often as I would like because they're still doing habits I'm trying to let go of. You may feel led to completely let them people go. Because if you're a kind of person where, for me, it was more so of balancing. When I smoke now, it's more so for creative inspiration, and it just really helps me with creative spaces, if that makes sense. But it's very, very rare. It's not as often as it was. For somebody else who's watching this, you may feel led to completely let it go. And I think I'm gonna say this right here. I feel like it's a good video for anybody because if I decided today, if I felt the conviction today, you can never smoke again, I could do that. I don't do it nearly as often as I used to. So honestly, I could stop and I would use this exact formula. So whatever you feel convicted to do, slow down or stop completely, you can do that. But if the people around you are not conducive to your growth, you have to let them go or slow down how much you're hanging around them, and that's just law. And I'm sorry. But you will feel so much better when it may feel hard at first to let people go, people that you may have been friends with forever, but is it really good community if it's keeping you stagnant and stuck in the same place and you want to grow and be better? That's not doing anything for you. Let them go. And through time, God will allow you to come in contact with the people that's for you, because imagine the people that's for you that make you feel love, that make you feel joy, that bring you peace. They don't smoke like that. So think about if you entered their life, you may bring them backwards, and that's not what God wants, okay? Your community is supposed to help you move forward, and if your community is not doing that, you know what to do. If you're ever unsure about if somebody needs to go, prayer. When I say everything goes back to God, I am not lying. You cannot do this without God. You just can't. And maybe you can, but it's going to take a hell of a long time. It's going to be a hell of a hard-ass journey. It's so much easier when you have the divine guidance that can see bird's eye view. Remember what I said, bird's eye view, to tell you what to do and what not to do and how to maneuver. Like I said, help you give you that strength when you feel like you don't have it within yourself, because we can't. Our spirit is to control our flesh. We're at this moment watching this video because we fed our flesh too much. If you're trying to get your flesh in balance with your spirit, or really trying to learn to have your spirit override your flesh, you got to connect with these spirits to get your spirit right. I might have an editor's cut right there because my mind just kind of went blank. But I need to hurry up anyway, so moving on. Take it a day at a time. Don't pressure yourself with expectations and comparing your journey. Be present in your journey. Don't feel so much pressure to be perfect. Like I said, when I said be gracious with yourself, because remember when I said to be gracious with yourself, because in this process you're still a baby. You're a person that is a baby and experiencing being free of relying on a substance. You're still learning how to do that, right? So take it a day at a time. Be gracious with yourself and don't pressure yourself to be perfect at the beginning. Now, this was extremely important for me in this process and to write down, I think, for other people, because I'm a perfectionist. I like to be perfect at everything first try, which has really been so detrimental to me and my journey and just enjoying life at times, because I expect it to be perfect straight out. And that's simply just not realistic. You're not going to be perfect at something the first time you try. You may be really good at something that you're blessed to be good at first try, but everything, that's just not practical. And that's really what this is about. For all my perfectionists, my people who hold themselves to high expectations, things that have continued throughout your childhood and they stuck with you as an adult to hold yourself to impossible standards, you do not have to be perfect the first try. Maybe nobody told you straight out, like me, nobody told you have to be perfect, but through things that were told to you, through things that were implied, when you're a child, sometimes it feels like that's what's being said to you because you don't have the emotional intelligence to really know what they're trying to say. And you kind of put more pressure on yourself than needed. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. Just try, okay? Take it a day at a time and be kind to yourself. I'm just going to read this because I've already talked about journaling and its importance and stuff like that. And then I'm going to study, praise the Lord, because I need to go do that. Invest in a journal. Pay attention to your emotions that arise. Don't wallow, but sit with them for a bit, no matter how uncomfortable they are. Pray for guidance on how to tackle them if needed. Self-exploration and healing is imperative. We don't smoke too much for no reason. It came from somewhere, whether it be a learned behavior or we ran from some uncomfortable emotions at a point in time and it just stuck with us. If you want to be released, you have to be willing to dig. To be liberated comes with uncomfortable and sometimes scary risks. To want liberation is the solid acknowledgement that you have been chained. To want to be free from something, like I said, is to admit that it has chained you at some point. And to be released from chains, you have to be willing to dig into those emotions that got you chained in the first place. You're not going to be able to just stay away from weed and stop smoking and fill your time up with all these habits and all these things and then expect to never fall back into bad habits again when you still have a habit of running from your emotions, from not dealing with shit head on, from just acting like everything's okay when everything is indeed not okay and you are sad. You're gonna fall back into those habits. And I don't mean when I say sometimes we falter, sometimes we fall, sometimes we have to dust ourselves off and get back up, sometimes we have to pray for guidance. I'm not talking about that kind of going back into bad habits. I'm talking about completely going backwards and living in a space that we freed ourselves from because you did not tackle the root of the problem. It's like cutting a weed down. It's like cutting a weed and not uprooting it. It's just going to grow back. I hope this helped. This feels so crazy to be closing this chapter with this video. This is an ongoing chapter in my life. It's March. It's the end of March. It is, show y'all the date, March 25th. I did it. I went from smoking every day. I went from God telling me, convicting me to slow down in March, and it took me all the way to August to actually stop. I went from that to now I'm cooling. Don't even be thinking about it like that. It has allowed me to see other things about myself as well. Like the fact that I don't like smoking around people that I haven't hung out with sober. I now don't do smoke sessions as a, oh, let's kick it, let's smoke together for a first hangout. I don't do that shit. I want to feel your energy out when I'm sober. How did I get there? Letting weed go. Letting it go is going to show you so much more about yourself and how you choose to maneuver through your life. Especially if it's something that you've been holding on to, like for me at 16, and it just progressed years and years down the line. Think about how much you might have changed and you don't even know it because you've been living in this old mindset of who you are. And you haven't, let's not play games. We know when we smoke, we're not fully conscious. Part of us is tuned out, turned off. You're not fully aware of your internal, your mindset, your subconscious, like I said. Imagine how much has changed and shifted since you were 16, 14, 13. Those are the ages I'm hearing. 12. Damn. Think about how much has changed since then. Did I say 15 already? I hope this helps. Whatever journey you're on, whether it's letting it go completely or slowing down, or if it's just you just need to do a tea break, whatever it is, whatever led you here, I hope this video has helped. I hope you heed my warnings and my word, not because I said it, but because they said it. You feel me? I felt the conviction to do it. I'm doing what I felt convicted to do. I urge you to do the same. You will feel so free on the other side. So, I really ain't got shit else. I'm just rambling at this point. I got shit to do, so I'll see you niggas later.